Today we're going to look at the geographic features of China. We're going to start with the major bodies of water, which we're going to start with two huge rivers. Oopsie. First one is called the Yangtze River. And it starts here. We're going to highlight it, flowing down to the sea. Okay, and then there's a second one called the Yellow River, which is right north of there. Physical features are the things that are on the land that distinguish it: the mountains, the rivers, the seas, plateaus. Okay, and then we're going to label those. So we have, we're going to write it in green. Let's see if we can get it black. Okay, so we have the Yangtze. Okay, and we have the Yellow River. Okay, we have two mountain ranges we want to look at. We're going to highlight, I would say if you were at a colored pencil, you should highlight them in brown, even though I'm going to use green because I don't have brown to highlight with. But this is the Himalayan mountains. And these are the Kunlun mountains. And we will label those as well. Make sure you always capitalize place names, right? Himalayas and Kunlun. There's a very famous mountain that is in the Himalayas, and I bet you know what it is. You're going to draw your own version in here if you want. It's the highest mountain in the world. And we're going to just make sure we realize that it's there in the Himalayas. And I bet you guys already know I'm talking about Mount Everest. But we're going to label that so we can remember. It's actually not inside China right now, but it borders on it. The Himalayas border on it, okay? The elevation of Mount Everest is 29,035 feet, almost double the size of the mountains in the Rocky Mountains that we're used to. All right, we're going to label this area between these mountain ranges where it's sort of flat in between these two ranges, and this is called the Plateau of Tibet. Plateau means it's a high, flat range area, okay, of Tibet. Okay, and just north of there is desert, and it's kind of a funny word. You might want to practice it a few times. It's the Taklamakan Desert. And I always remind myself how to spell desert and not confuse it with dessert. Desert has one S, but dessert has two S's. And I tell myself, dessert's really good, so I'd want two desserts. Okay? But deserts are pretty rough places to be, so I wouldn't want to be there more than once. Okay? Two S's for dessert, one S for desert. Okay? The other desert that is in China is the Gobi Desert. Okay? And then we want to go back to bodies of water. We're going to look at our Yellow River here, and it comes out into the Yellow Sea. So we're going to label the Yellow Sea. And the Yangtze River comes out into what's called the East China Sea, which is on the east coast of China. So that's pretty easy to remember. As well as Yellow Sea should be pretty easy to remember as well. So we have the East China Sea. And then, believe it or not, off the southern coast of China would be the South China Sea. Okay. So let's see, we should have 10 geographic features on here. We have the Himalaya, the Plateau of Tibet, the Kunlun, the Taklamakan Desert, the Gobi Desert, Yellow River, Yangtze River, South China Sea, East China Sea, and Yellow Sea. So it looks good. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I think I am forgetting something. Okay. So those are the most important geographic features in China that we're going to study right now. When we're done familiarizing ourselves with this map, we're actually going to make topographic maps because the elevation in China is extreme. It goes from sea level, so actually below sea level right here on the coast, all the way up to over 20,000 feet up in the mountains. Last thing we're going to mark, and I think I'm going to use orange, you can use any color you want, is the borders of what modern China looks like. We've been talking about ancient China right now, but we're going to compare that, oops, get that color right, to the borders of modern China. So these are the boundaries right here of modern day China. We were to go to China right now, the borders would be like this. Okay? But it varied a lot in ancient times because of different empires and wars and people taking power. Of course, things change over time. Boundaries change over time. So we want to add a little key somewhere, just where we maybe make a box and make sure that we highlight that this is the boundaries of modern day China. Okay. And again, we think we're interested in China. It's something that is in our current events. We talk about it a lot. So it's very relative to who we are as a nation now and our foreign international relations. But we're going to be looking at ancient China because it's connected to all those ancient cultures that we've been talking about over the past year. So this is the map. You need to know these features. You're going to be given a quiz where I will give you a list of these features and you need to be able to identify them and label them.